Good afternoon, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, we give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Also want to acknowledge the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. I also want to acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson today and gives us knowledge and understanding the times of the past, times of the present, and the things that are soon to come on the earth. I was checking out the internet and some sports stories, and one that caught my attention a couple days ago was this story about Kyle Korver, who wrote a piece and put it in a paper, and he was discussing white privilege. And Most High kind of led me to kind of go a little bit more in depth into this topic, because even that shows how the Most High is in absolutely everything. You're going to see how this topic and the way that people react to this is actually biblical. It's actually talked about this whole situation, about how things are going to be here at the end, and how the situations just like this. It's kind of touched on in other books. It's actually touched on in the Apocalypse of Peter, which will kind of give us a little bit of an understanding as to the thinking of the vast majority of the people in this society, Israelites, Gentiles, and how they react back and forth. And what he said and the reaction from a lot of people will show you how the scriptures have come to life. And it just confirms the times that we are in. I mean, it's not it's no secret that we've come to the end of Esau's reign. And he's doing his best to keep people oblivious to what's going on all around them. You know, there's another bomb cyclone going over the Midwest. And I mean, they're already inundated with flooding. I was watching a video and they were talking about how satellite imagery was showing that there was over 1 million acres of farmland underwater for more than 7 days, not counting the livestock that's been destroyed. Talking about how the water, is contaminated with these dead carcasses of all these animals and pesticides and whatever poisons that they spray. And how the water has just barely receded, and it was showing the destruction to the infrastructure, the bridges, the roads. And then the Most High sends another bomb cyclone in less than a month, which is then going to inundate the area with more rain, more flooding. And then I was watching a video last night, just kind of popped up in my feed, and I was checking it out. And out here in California, gas prices just jumped like 40 cents, like within the last couple weeks. And, it's like they always talk about some summer blend, and all of a sudden our gas is always high and it goes up before the summer. But then they were talking about they're switching to a new blend. I think it's with ethanol. And ethanol actually, is made with corn. So then all of a sudden you start to think about all the different products that are going to be affected because of this flooding in the Midwest. And you just realize that the Most High is at work. And this, just like the time of Egypt, the Pharaoh tried to downplay everything as much as he could. I do remember they had a conversation with Moses, and the Pharaoh was trying to say that he got all these reports that how all these things were just natural phenomena. All these plagues were just natural phenomenon, just things that happen all the time, and that it wasn't really any kind of miracles from the Most High. And when you watch the news, that's what they try to do even to today. They try to play everything off like it's just, hey, this is natural. This is what happens all the time. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving. You got the NBA playoffs this weekend. Why don't you worry about that? Who's your team? Who's your favorite player? What's going on with the Lakers? What's going on? Where's KD going to go? So you're sitting here thinking, after the season's over with, where's KD going to go? Who's he going to sign with? Should they trade LeBron? Are they going to fire the head coach, Luke Walton? So they get you into all these different, things and other forms of thinking, and different mindsets, and you're not looking at the way the Most High is moving, and realizing that time is short, and that if the Most High is calling you, it's time for you to get serious and start doing the work of the Most High. But this world is made in order to elevate the weak-minded, to elevate, people who, aren't really about anything. The people who are really about the Most High's business, those people are put down, marginalized, pushed off to the side. And that's what we're going to be getting into today. And I just kind of find it funny that, Kyle Korver, wrote this piece and had it published. And you start seeing all these people coming to his, coming to praise him. Oh man, wow, that was a great thing he did. I can't believe that a white man would actually say something like this. And they were just giving him so much credit. And it's like, I'm familiar with Kyle Korver. I've played ball in college, and then play a little NBA, 2K19 from here, here and there, So I know about Kyle Korver. I've seen him for many, many years. And it's just funny because they give him so much credit for stating the obvious. You're like, duh. Of course of course there's two totally different systems going on here. You're not saying anything that we don't know. But because it was a white man that said it, all of a sudden now it adds some validity to the argument. And I guess we're supposed to just jump up and, and scream hallelujah and thank the Most High that a white man actually acknowledged the plight of the Hebrews. The time of just acknowledging that there's a problem is gone. We're way past that. If you think that just acknowledging that there's some issues here and that, what can we do to solve it? If you were really serious about solving it, you've had a long time to do that. Now the Most High is starting to move. He's going to make it so that it's not going to be like, well, how do you want to fix it? He's going to fix it. So let's check this out real quick. And this is from the undefeated.com. I got this little part of an article. It's going to read a little bit of it here real quick. It is very courageous of him, Utah Jazz teammate Thabo Sefolosha told the Undefeated. It is a thoughtful and sincere letter that speaks to everyone that believes in change. For him to show that being oblivious to the racial bias and then learning about it and wanting to make a change around him is powerful. LeBron James, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony are among the NBA stars who have been outspoken about racism and social justice in recent years. Never forgotten will be their speech before the 2016 ESPYs, telling the worldwide audience enough is enough. The common denominator among those four men, of course, is they are African American. And currently more than 75% of the NBA's players are black. You know what? Kyle Korver, if you want to, actually tell some truth, why don't you tell these people that they're not African American? Why don't you say that you are the true Hebrews of the Bible? Why don't you let them know that they're the true sons of the Most High? Why don't you guys let them know that they aren't black? No one's black, just like no one's white. I mean, like if you're going to start actually wanting to tell the truth, you can't tell continue with the lies. There's much more to this than just, hey, there's a problem. Much more. Let's continue. It says Korver speaking out about white privilege while playing in front of largely white audiences, however, speaks louder than James, Paul, Wade, and Anthony combined. What? So what you're telling me then is that the views of four NBA superstars doesn't mean anything compared to some journeyman white dude who finally actually admits that, hey, there's some racism going on here. I mean, you see that right there. I mean, that's why a lot of these people of color who seem to think that they've made it and think that that other people look at them on an equal plane. This here just lets you. It's like a slap in the face. Yeah, we know that you guys are great. Hey, you guys can do this, and that. But when you talk about racism, no one really takes you seriously. But hey, if this one white dude who barely even plays, who's been on God knows how many different teams, he acknowledges that all of a sudden it's way more powerful and carries way more weight. All right. So that's just hypocrisy. So let's continue. It says it resonates because it's rare to hear from white athletes acknowledging racism and the pain their black teammates go through. Okay. It says, in fairness, there are white NBA players who have spoken up in the past. Okay, but see what I'm saying? Like, it's just two totally different mindsets here. So except if the black people complain about racism, it don't mean nothing. A white dude he just acknowledges it. Oh my God, we need to kiss this dude's feet. I can't believe that, he would admit this, even though all of us know that's exactly what's happening. I mean, it's just crazy because to sit there and look at this. But I mean, it's really not. But like I said, at these times, and that's how Esau wants it. That's how these Gentiles want this. They want to be able to admit that there's an issue, but on their own terms. The Most High is not coming, to ask for you to accept the Most High as people. He's coming to bring the wood now. He's bringing the stick now. He's going to make it's his way or the highway. There's no negotiating with the Father. Okay? Let me see here. Now, this world was given to the wicked. This world is, this dominion right now was given to the wicked. And that was actually prophesied in the Wisdom of Solomon. And I'm going to read a little bit of that today. Let me get it real quick. Because this kind of gives you the mindset of Esau and the other nations. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. We're going to read verses 1 through 10. And I'm sure a lot of people who came here on those ships with Columbus and found the Hebrews, found them in their land. They found paradise. And the Most High had given them dominion because it was their time to rule. I'm sure this is what was going through many of their minds when this was happening, as well as many of our own people who took sides with the Gentiles and the other nations. I'm sure this is exactly what they were thinking about because they knew that they were going to get a certain time to rule. And now their time to rule had come. And the Most High had given his people over to them and their inheritance, which was their land, over to the Gentiles. So when the Gentiles were about to walk into their kingdom, into their dominion, I'm sure this is what many of them were thinking. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 1. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart, which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air, and our name shall be forgotten in time. And no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning. For it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures, like as in youth. And that was a huge part right there. Come, therefore, as verse 6, come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. And when they saw the paradise that was here, they saw the Most High's people that were here. Those were the good things that they were coming to enjoy. So, and let us speedily use the creatures, like as in youth. They were going to use us as a people. They were going to use our land. They're going to use the animals. They're going to use absolutely everything, because they knew that their time to rule is short. Let us continue. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. So these people know, the ungodly knows that this is our portion. Our lot is this. Let all of us take part in our voluptuousness. So this is showing you that there's two totally double standards going on here, and that this is their run. This is their portion. Let's go to 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. So they know that this is their kingdom. This is their time to rule. So when someone like us, who is going through, our punishment, complains about it, this is why they don't care. This is why we get, no one gives us any, they don't care about anything that we have to say. They pay us no mind as far as when we complain, because this is their time to run everything. This is their voluptuousness. They will only pretty much acknowledge it when someone who's also in their position brings it up and says something. All of a sudden, then it's a big thing, because everyone knows it's their time to rule. And it's like all of a sudden someone that's actually in a position, that's higher than us, actually is admitting the fact that they're above us. Then all of a sudden, he gets like a pat on the back. Like, what a great guy. I can't, he's acknowledging that us poor little ones down here. And I see that all the time. But like I said, Korver, he admits quite a few things. But they'll admit, like I said, they'll always, most of them, some of them will admit, the double standards in society. The problem is, when we talk about recompense, they all pretty much agree about the whole recompense question. They all pretty much play the same tune as far as that is concerned. But let's continue. This is their voluptuousness, so let's all remember that about the whole voluptuousness and their time to rule and everything else. All right. This is actually part of the article that he actually wrote here. It says, it's Kyle Korver talking about how he looks like the other guy. He looks like the people in the sands. It says, but I look like the other guy. And whether I like it or not, I'm beginning to understand how that means something. What I'm realizing is, no matter how passionately I commit to being an ally, and no matter how unwavering my support is for NBA and WNBA players of color, I'm still in this conversation from the privileged perspective of opting into it, which of course means that on the flip side, I could just as easily opt out of it. Every day, I'm given that choice. I'm granted that privilege based on the color of my skin. And that's the case. People can opt into, yeah, I feel your pain. Man, that sucks the way that you've been treated. Man, I can't believe you didn't get that job. Oh man, I can't believe they pulled you over for no reason. They can opt in whenever they want. But just as soon as they opt in and say they feel bad for you, they can easily just opt out and turn away and just turn a blind eye to everything that's happening and act like, oh, well, that's their problem, not mine. You know? But why do they have that option? Because the Most High gave them the rule, gave them their time. But what they don't understand is that's with an expiration date. You can't have think you're going to have control of everything, and then all of a sudden think that you are at the end of that time you're not going to have to pay for it. Okay, something else here that I kind of found it pretty funny because this is what they all most of them seem to agree on. This part right here. When it comes to racism in America, I think that guilt and responsibility tend to be seen as more or less the same thing. But I am beginning to understand how there's a real difference. And this is what Kyle Korver says also. As white people, are we guilty of the sins of our forefathers? His answer, no, I don't think so. But are we responsible for them? Yes, I believe we are. And I guess I've come to realize that when we talk about solutions to systematic racism, police reform, workplace diversity, affirmative action, better access to healthcare, even reparations, it's not about guilt. It's not about pointing fingers or placing blame. It's about responsibility. So, it was funny because I read this, but then I was watching the show, and I'll leave it in the description box. And it's Skip and Shannon Sharp were having a discussion. And, of course, I swear these guys must just get together and say, hey, you're going to take this side of the argument and I'm going to take this side of the argument, and you're going to make these points and I'm going to make these points. It's like all so scripted. I mean, it's like, you can just see it. The two black guys on the panel are like, yeah, man, Kyle Korver, I can't believe it's so great what he did. He admitted that there's a problem and it's this, and that. And I think I didn't even Skip on the show was like, well, it wasn't a big deal what he said. Yeah, big deal. He's been in the league, 16 years, and now he's barely coming to these conclusions that there's racism, and then the black guys are like, well, hey, Skip, well, at least he did that. At least, he made a point. He's trying to. So it's like they got these two dudes over here, the two brothers over here, just cooning for Kyle Korver. Oh, he was great for just bringing this up, man. I'm so happy this guy did that for us. I'm so happy. And then the white guy's like, yeah, it was no big deal, and this, and that. Well, what was funny was that, Skip was like, well, you know what? As far as the guilt, yeah, I'm really, really guilty for what our country did. We enslaved people and built up our country on, on the backs of slaves. But I don't feel responsible for anything. So it's like you just flip a coin. It's the same thing's going to happen. Nothing. Either they feel guilty but they don't feel responsible, or they feel responsible but not guilty. But we know that if we leave it up to them, absolutely nothing is going to be done as far as recompense is concerned. But a beautiful thing is this: it's not up to them. Most High, the Father, He's the judge. That's why He talks about how He's going to be the judge. He's going to be the final say-so. And the thing is that the other nations in Esau have gone so long being in power that they think it's always going to be like this. It's like, if you commit a crime, say that you were in a car and you were out drinking and you got into an accident and you killed someone, and then you go to court and they find you guilty, and then they say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I know that we have all this evidence against you. I know we found you guilty, but you know what? We're going to let you decide. What do you think your punishment should be? What do you think the guy who kills the people is going to say? Well, I think you guys should just give me a chance and just let me go. I feel bad about what happened. So, but you know what? I think I won't do it again. So I think you guys should just let me go. And then the judge says, okay, well, if that's how you feel, then you go ahead and, just go ahead and leave. That's cool. Now, in what world would that actually happen? Nowhere, right? Would that ever happen to us if we did something wrong? Where we can say, the judge will say, hey, you know what? You can just go ahead and call out your own sentence. Call your shot. What do you think we should give you as far as a sentence? Yeah, we found you guilty. We know you should be getting 20, 30 years for this, but you know what? I'm not gonna make that call. I'm gonna let you make the call yourself. That's exactly how Esau, I mean, that's the kind of mental gymnastics that Esau has to play. Because your people came to the Most High's land, enslaved his people, went way further than they were supposed to. But then when it's time to actually pay the piper, when the Most High comes back, you think he's going to ask you, well, hey, I know you did all these things to my people. I told you you could only kill this many, but you killed way more. You hid all this information. You hid everything else. You made up all these religions. You had my people, worshiping gods of wood and stone. I know we found you guilty for all these things, but you know what we're going to do? The Most High is going to say to Esau, I'm going to let you go ahead and make your own. I'm going to let you decide what your sentence should be. You think that's what's going to happen? Of course not. But like I said, that's what they have to do in their minds in order to be able to get some sleep at night. Okay? That's why there's scriptures like this. Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. That there alone lets you know that if you're guilty, your children are going to be responsible if you're not here. Point blank, period. Because that's exactly what happened to us. Our fathers were not here, and we were responsible for their actions. If he's going to do that to us, why do you think he wouldn't do that to you? And let me read that real fast. Lamentations 5 and 7. Our fathers have sinned and are not, which means they're not here. They died. And we have borne their iniquities. That's Lamentations 5 and 7. You can always look to your future, Esau and the other nations. The ones that the Most High, has been keeping track of. You look at what happened to us, because that's what's going to happen to you. Now, like I said before, Most High is preserving a few of the other nations, a few of the Gentiles who have not been partakers in this, because there's levels to everything. Okay, so this isn't hey, every single Gentile is going to get this punishment. That's not how it is. The Most High has been keeping track, and so as you've done, so it shall be done unto you. If you're one of the Gentiles that's been good to the Most High's people, he might show you some mercy. But he's going to preserve a remnant of the Gentiles to serve. That's all over the scriptures. And that's what he's going to do. So I know that Esau is used to, being judge, jury, and executioner. But the Most High is going to come back and he's going to be fulfilling those reigns. He's going to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Not Esau. Not the Gentiles. Because it's already been talked about what's going to happen, how Esau's going to do it. He's going to do it like this right here. If he's in charge, this is what he's doing. Zechariah 11, I'm going to start at 4. Okay. I didn't make a copy of it, but you can get there. Zechariah 11, 4 through 6. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Exactly what you just saw with Kyle Korver, playing out in the scriptures right now. The scriptures playing out in modern day, and modern day occurrences right now. Whose possessors slay them. They possessed us here in our land. They worked us here like dogs in our own land, took our natural resources here, and hold themselves not guilty. Exactly what he just said. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they say, and then they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So that's what they say. I mean, we're so blessed. God bless America. He's provided this land for us and all these opportunities for us. Man, God is good. God's given us everything. That's why they're saying, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. Okay? And their own shepherds pity them not. Their own people who have joined themselves unto Esau and the other nations don't pity the true Hebrews. Not at all. Okay? Verse 6. For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men, every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. Which you got to understand, Esau. And it's something that, because of the pride of Esau, he thinks that he came over here and took the land and took the people captive through his own power. But that's not true. The Most High was the one who delivered us into their hands. And that's a huge thing right there for people to understand. And as quick as the Most High delivered us into his hands, he's going to take us out of his hands and he's going to redeem us. How quickly do you think people are going to switch allegiances once they realize the truth? Once they realize who the true men and women of the Most High are? How quickly do you think they're going to turn their back on Esau when they find out the truth? I bet it's going to be real quick. Real quick. But as you see right there, part of it is attacking the land. Look there at 6. For lo, for I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men, every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king. And they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. So, just like it says, he delivered us as a people, and he delivered our land to them. So like I said, when you have the correct understanding of this being our land and our people being over here, when you start reading other scriptures, you'll start to see things that maybe we didn't see before. But this is exactly what happened here at the end. And for a time, he turned his face away from us, and he allowed them to do whatever it is they wanted to do, but he's been keeping track. Okay? Let's continue here. Okay, something else here from this article. This part there says, police reform, workplace diversity, affirmative action, better access to health care, even reparations. It's not about guilt. It's not about pointing fingers or passing blame. That's the thing. They didn't want to take any responsibility for anything, but it's always wanting us to take responsibility for our actions. But they never take responsibility for their own. It's about responsibility. It's about understanding that when we said the word equality for generations, what we really meant is equality for a certain group of people. Hold on. It's about understanding that when we said the word inequality for generations, what we've really meant is slavery and its aftermath, which is still being felt to this day. It's about understanding on a fundamental level that Black people and white people, they still have it different in America, and that those differences come from an ugly history, not some random divide. And that's it. It wasn't on accident. They knew that they were being given their time, just like I talked about in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, and they were going to set up everything for them to enjoy their voluptuousness. It all makes sense. It all fits. And this is why we will not be listened to. While the real Hebrews, when we talk, other people will not listen because it's not our time. Even though now the truth is growing more and more people are being exposed to it. The people that the Most High wants to hear it, they're getting an opportunity to hear the truth and to make changes and to prepare themselves for what's to come. Because once that stick is being brought, maybe then at that time, the chance for redemption will be over. So now's the time to get right with the Father. Okay? Now we're going to get into the Coptic apocalypse of Peter. And you're going to see how they've put themselves on top. How they've put themselves like the Kyle Korvers and their opinions and the way that they think. How they've used religion to put themselves on top. So that when they say things, other people will listen. And when we say things, most people don't want to hear it because they think that we don't know what we're talking about. This has all been systematic, and this has all been prophecy. And I'm going to show you right now that this is something that was already written thousands of years ago. And get all these alerts keep popping up. Okay, let's continue. All right. Now this is I'm going to read the first part of it here. Okay, because when this was written, they knew that this was written for a future time. Okay, so let's go right here. And when I said these things, the Savior said, I have told you that these people are blind and deaf. Now then, listen to the things that are being told to you in a mystery and guard them. Do not tell them to the children of this age, for you will be despised in these ages, since they are ignorant of you. But you will be praised in the age of knowledge. For many will accept our teaching in the beginning, but they will turn away again in accordance with the will of the Father. So, like it was already talked about in 2nd Ezra chapter 14, there are going to be some books that are going to be given to everyone, for everyone to read. And then at the end, Mosiah was going to release other books to other people in order for them to bring in a bigger flock of people at the end. And that's exactly what you're seeing. And if you look, that's exactly what's being said right here. Okay? Because at the end, when we get closer to the age of knowledge, then this other information is going to come out in order to give a much better and deeper understanding of scriptures. That's why I've still been getting attacked about, using other books, which I don't really care, because no one is still proving that the Most High only ordained 80 books, because they can't. Let's continue. I'm going to read the top because the top kind of got a little cut off. Let me see here. Accordance with the will of the Father of their error, because they have done what he wanted, and he will make manifest in his judgment who the servants of the word are. So when the Most High is bringing the judgment, then you're going to know who the true servants are. Okay? But those who became mingled with these will become their prisoners. So a lot of our people who become mingled with the other nations are going to become the prisoners of these other nations, stuck doing the will of these other prisoners. Like when you're on these shows and you got these people of color who are just going out of their way to support anything that, any bone that Esau throws at them. Oh man, he was so nice to admit that we've been in them. The people have been racist against us. Man, he's awesome. He's like the best guy ever. Our people who are mingled with them, they're forced to say whatever it is that the Most High makes them say. And they're like the prisoners of Esau and the other nations. We continue. Since they are without perception, and the guileless good, pure one is pushed to the executioner, even into the kingdom of those who praise a restored Christ. And they praise the men of the propagation of falsehood. Now you're going to see why they're praising these Edomites who are just lying and who are just saying whatever it is they want to say. They can say whatever, and everyone's going to believe them. This is why. Let me read that again. And they praise the men of the propagation of falsehood, who will succeed you. Okay, so these people are going to come after us, after our fall. They're going to be raised up. Okay? And they will hold fast to the name of a dead man. There's your Caesarea. Okay? While thinking that they will become pure. because they believe that if they believe in Caesarea, all their sins will be forgiven and they can make it into heaven. But they will become greatly defiled. Why is that? Because they say the laws are done away with. I can do whatever it is I want. So they're defiling themselves every single day. And they will fall into an explicit error and into the hand of an evil, cunning man with a multifarious doctrine. And they will be ruled heretically. For some of them will blaspheme the truth and proclaim evil teaching. And they will say evil things to each other, and some because they stand by virtue of the archons. Okay, I'll leave it on that part right there. Okay, but that's what you're seeing right now. They will praise the men of the propagation of falsehood. They praise the men who lie to them. They praise the men who push these lies. They praise the men that have raised up, Esau, the other nations, an imitation of our people. They praise those people, but they fight against the truth. They fight against who the real people are. They fight against Yahushai. They fight against the Holy Spirit. They fight against wisdom. That's what they do. Okay? And like I said, this is exactly what you saw in this whole exchange. The white man says it. You listen. No questions asked. Many of our men or women will say something about the truth, can prove it with scriptures, and you get attacked. Just like it says what's going to happen here. The people of this world will praise the men of the propagation of falsehood. So like I said, you got 3 or 4 NBA stars talking about racism. No one cares. You get one dude who pushes these lies, and he's just looked at as, wow, amazing. How, I can't believe that he would do that. I took such courage to admit that there's some racism here. And a lot of our people would sit there and eat it up. Okay? But this is why you can't go off of just how people look. You got to examine their fruits. Even though Kyle Korver said some nice things, ultimately, did he tell the truth? Did he tell who the real men or women of the Most High is? Did he talk about, giving back the land that they took from us? Did they talk about, hey, we should, if we did these things to them for 400 years, maybe we should repay them with 400 years of service ourselves? Nope, none of that. It was, well, I'm not guilty. I might be a little responsible, but I'm not guilty. But that's why the Most High is not going to allow them to be the judge, jury, and executioner anymore. Okay, let's continue. For evil cannot produce good fruit, for each source produces what is like itself. For not every soul comes from the truth, nor from immortality. For every soul of these ages has death assigned to it. And that's the thing we, as a people, you need to understand. We all need to understand. Not every soul comes from the truth. But that's something that was pushed here because they want everyone to believe that everybody's equal. Well, we all look the same. We have 2 arms, we have 2 legs, we have a head, we have ears, we have eyes. So we're all the same. Well, we might look the same physically for the most part, but our souls come from 2 totally different areas. From the right side and the left side. Okay, so let's continue. Consequently, it is always a slave. It is created for its desires and their eternal destruction, for which they exist and in which they exist. They, or the souls, love the material creatures which come forth with them. But the immortal souls are not like these, O Peter. Like I said, so see, as you can tell, the certain souls, certain spirits are attracted to each other. And they've been elevated in this reality. So therefore, when someone that they are one of the same souls, evil or good, you got all the evil souls together. So they're there pretty much to keep these good souls down. The people or the souls or the spirits of the Most High at the bottom. So as we complain, they ignore it. But if one of their own says something, all of a sudden then they'll acknowledge it. But if it's us that says something, they just ignore it. But it's showing you that, but immortal souls are not like these, O Peter, because their mortal souls are different. And it says, but indeed, as long as the hour has not yet come, she, the immortal soul, will indeed resemble a mortal one. Because physically, they look the same. So they might, maybe resemble each other. But not until the end will you be able to tell the difference between an immortal soul and a mortal one. And that's what we're coming into now, where you can start to tell who's who by the fruits that they produce. Okay? Let's continue. We're going to start here towards the top where it says, therefore. I'm making sure I'm getting everything in that I wanted to talk about. Okay. Therefore, everything that does not abide will dissolve into that which does not exist. For deaf and blind ones join only with their own kind. So that's why, like, when I present whatever information it is I present, I'm not presenting information for people to necessarily always agree with me. And see, that seems to be an issue because a lot of people seem to, they take in information thinking that I'm trying to get them to agree. I don't care if you agree. All I'm doing is giving you some more information. What you do with it is whatever the Most High wants you to do with it. If you go out and study it out, that's great. If you don't, that's on you. I can't make anyone agree. And that's what this is just showing you right now. It says, for deaf and blind ones join only with their own kind. I can't invite you in to what I do, to what I see. So like you can invite me in, but if I don't have that same spirit, we're not going to be joined together. Let's continue. But some will depart from evil words and deceptive mysteries. Others do not understand mysteries, although they speak of these things which they do not understand. Nevertheless, they will boast that the mystery of the truth is theirs alone. And right here, you got a lot of people who's saying that they are the only ones that have the truth. And that if you want to be in the truth, you got to do everything that they say. No one has all the truth. No one. If you have all the truth, that would mean you're pretty much on par with the Most High. Because he's the only one that has 100% truth. The Most High is giving me downloads on so much information to me. And I realize that the more he shows me, the less I knew. And the less I know. And the more I have to study. So the more he gives me, the more I realize there's a whole lot of things I don't know. I don't think I'm capable in this body of knowing all the things the Most High wants to share. So I take whatever it is he gives me, thank the Most High for it, and I try my best to learn more and grow more in order to be used as a vessel for the Father. But this right here is showing you that there's going to be people that are going to boast that the mystery of the truth is theirs alone. And in haughtiness, they will begin, to envy the immortal soul that has become dedicated to God. For every authority, principality, and power of the ages always wanted to remain with these immortal souls. So as you start to see a growth of certain people, more information, then all of a sudden other people are going to, like it says right here, they're going to get upset about that. Okay? Because they're going to see that there is a difference. Okay? Let's see here. For every authority, principality, and power of the ages always wants to remain with these immortal souls for the foundation of the world, from the foundation of the world, in order that those who do not abide, since they have been ignorant and have not been saved, may be glorified by those who do abide. Okay? This is why it's been so important for them to have us Hebrews in their churches. Because they know that our spirits are different. And they get satisfaction by having us in their churches, following their gods of wood and stone. That's why it's been so hard. That's why they're always in our neighborhoods. That's why all these churches are on every one of our corners. That's why when these Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons are walking around, they're coming into our neighborhoods, trying to get us to go into their churches. This shows you why. Let's read that again. For every authority, principality, and power of the ages always wanted to remain with these immortal souls from the foundation of the world, in order that those who do not abide, since they have been ignorant, okay, these other souls who are ignorant, okay, since they have been ignorant and have not been saved, may be glorified by those who do abide. They want us to glorify them, us to glorify their powers. And they have not been brought to the way by them, although they have always desired that they would become the imperishable ones. They always want to be us. They've always desired that. But if they can't be us, they will have us try to worship their gods and be like them. For if the immortal soul receives power through an intellectual spirit, there's wisdom, then immediately she is joined by one of those who have been misled, and others who are numerous and who oppose the truth, okay, who are the messengers of error, will concoct their error and their law against these pure thoughts of mine, since they see from one perspective. They think that good and evil are from one source, and that's what they push. We're all equal, brother. We're all the same. God loves us all the same. We all come from Adam. See, this is showing you what's going on in the spiritual sense, in the spirit world, why they do a lot of things that they do. That's what this is showing you right here. They're going to come up with laws, try to, their own little laws, their own little spin on things in order to keep you from your power. So even when you get this knowledge, you can always get tripped up. You can always become complacent. You can always not grow anymore. Think that you've arrived. Think that you have 100% of the truth, and then you don't have to grow anymore. But the Father wants to take us much higher into a much deeper relationship and much deeper understanding. Well, not everyone, but the ones that He is intended to. Okay, this is what happens right here. This happens not only with the other nations, but this also happens within our own people. They do business in my word, and they will set forth a harsh fate in which the race of the immortal souls will run in vain until my return, for they will remain among them. So the other nations have taken our books, given us the 80, and tell us this is all you get. And I not only this is all you're going to get, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to tell you what it means. I know it says this, but Paul really meant to say this. I know Jesus said this, but what he really meant was this. That's what they do. I know the scriptures show them as being a people of color, but now they're all white. And since they're all white, now we're the ones who are going to teach you your book. This is what's been going on. But the Most High knew exactly what was going to happen and how we were going to be in a horrible state of confusion. And this is why He has to have forgiveness for us, because of all the things that have been set up to trip us up. And right here it says, and I have forgiveness of their transgressions, into which they fell because of the adversaries. Because of all the things that they've done to trip us up, the Most High is going to have forgiveness. Okay? I accepted their ransom from the slavery in which they existed, and I gave them freedom. And this is what the other nations have done, okay? For they will create an imitation remnant in the name of a dead man. There's your Caesarea again. There's your replacement theology. With that, the replacement theology has now given them authority over the scriptures. Then with that, the replacement theology, they made a fake chosen people and put them in a fake land. Okay? In the name of a dead man, who is Hermas, the firstborn of unrighteousness, in order that the real light might not be believed by the little ones. Okay? Now that's exactly what you've been seeing. When the real light comes, the little ones, the other people, will not believe it. Like I said, when I say something, it's all of a sudden, you need to show me every chapter and verse. You need to show me where you're getting that from. You need to prove where you're getting this from. Why is that? They said because Esau has set himself up and you don't question him, but you're going to question the other ones who are trying to bring the light to the little ones. So when Kyle Korver, like I said, this is how it all works out. When the NBA stars, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul say something about racism, they're like just marginalizing. Yeah, all right, whatever. You're making $100 million. How are you, how are you dealing with racism? How are you being wronged? See, they'll justify that kind of stuff in their minds. But if Kyle Korver says something, oh my gosh, man, he's a hero for freedom. He's like the white MLK. But that's how they set this up. So that without even thinking about it, black man saying something, whatever. He don't know what he's talking about. White man says something, oh my God, we need to listen to whatever he says because it's the gospel truth. That's why this is set up like this. So let me read that part again. In order that the real light may not be believed by the little ones. But those of this sort, the adversaries, are the workers who will be cast into the outer darkness, away from the children of light. For they will not enter, but neither do they permit those to enter who are going up to their approval and for their release. So like I told you, okay, there's a people that are damned. There's a people that were made to be damned. And it's not all white people, it's Edomites. And Edomites are going to come in different shades. They're going to look like different people. The devil is going to use his people who already know that they can't make it, and he's going to try to stop anyone who's trying to follow the Father. And that's Hebrews, Israelites, okay? That's also any Gentiles that the Most High has chosen to save. The Edomites, the sons of Satan, they're going to do whatever it is that they can to keep people from going to the Father. That's what they've been set up to do. And that's what they've been doing. Let's read that last part again. But those of this sort, the adversaries, are the workers who will be cast into the outer darkness, away from the children of light. For they will not enter, but neither do they permit those to enter who are going up to their approval and for their release. So as people like myself are trying to tell the truth, trying to share the truth, and many people don't want to listen and try to marginalize it. That's what these people were set up to do. So you seeing this play out even in the Kyle Korver scenario. Now something we're going to end with, okay, is this right here. Right here. Jeremiah 16:16. We're going to go from Jeremiah 16:16 to 19. The Most High already set up everything. It says it right here. I talked to many Gentiles, and they were trying to break down the scriptures and try to tell me what stuff means. I said, you know what? Before we even do that, first thing, show me any scripture in the Bible that says that Gentiles have authority over the scriptures. Show me anywhere in the Bible where it says that Gentiles can decide which books are good, which books are bad. Any scripture that says that they can now teach the Hebrews the scriptures. And usually I get nothing but crickets because it's something that they've never been, no one's ever posed that question to them before. So when I do that, I'm like, hey, hold on. Before we even have this discussion, prove who you are. Show me who has authority. Because I can show you where the Most High says that all the Gentiles are going to come to the Most High at the end and say that their fathers have inherited lies. Now, if it says the Most High is going to say all the Gentiles are going to say they've inherited lies, then that therefore disqualifies you for even touching my scriptures anymore. Let's read what the Most High says right here, though. Jeremiah 16:16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. And that's what you're seeing. The Most High is sending his people out to be fishers. He's sending his men out to be fishers. He's sending out the women to fish other women to teach children. He's sending the men to teach the nation. The Most High has a plan for all his children to be used. And let's all just praise the Most High, when he gives us that opportunity, that we take advantage of opportunity to do what the Most High wants us to do. All right? It says, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. Right here, 17. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. Okay, so the Most High has been keeping track of absolutely everything, just like I said. And they don't get to dictate what kind of punishment they get. The Most High will be handing out whoopings when he gets back. All right? And first, I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double. Why exactly? Right? Because they have defiled my land. They have filled my inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. Twofold. What they did to the land, what they did when they got over here. So that's why, where our lands are very important. Because they're getting punished for doing these things to our lands. Okay? And what they did to us, filling our carcasses with these detestable and abominable things, physically and spiritually. The lies, okay, the foods, all the things they made us do. There's a price to pay. 19, and very important right here. Okay? O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge. In the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. So again, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things there is no profit. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods? So, let's go to 21. Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is the Lord. So, in closing, the Korver situation just proves that the Most High is at work in every aspect. Many people will look at it on a superficial level and just be happy that he acknowledged that there's a problem. I'm looking at it as a spiritual level and showing you how this has been set up this entire way, so that at the end, when the Most High's men woke up and are being used by the Father, that the rest of the world will not pay them any mind, will remain in their drunken stupor of ignorance. But the Most High set it up that way because he didn't want them. He's calling the ones that he is already foreknew, that he prepared before time, before the foundations of the earth. And now that we're seeing the plague starting to be released, no one understand. It's not men that's doing this. It's the Most High who's now switching the plagues from us to the other nations. He's bringing the truth to our people in order to spread to the others that the Most High is going to call here at the end. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.